Hey, it's Killbite here. In this video, we're going to attempt to remove the fenders on this 70s Chevelle. Yeah, attempt. So first thing, you are going to have to remove the front bumper because the bumper overlaps the fender here. Now, in order to remove the bumper, you're going to have to loosen up these bolts on the top on the turn signals. And when you do have it loosened, they will just hang there. Now, I'm going to warn you, these screws have been in there for possibly 55 years, and I'll already tell you that I couldn't get mine to come loose. I sprayed them with PB Blaster and stuff, and they're solid. Tried the hammer trick. You know, put the screwdriver up against it and tap on the hammer. They will not break loose. So I'm gonna have to drill mine. So I tried to take the lens off of it, and of course that screw there would not come out. So I ended up doing the drill and then using a chisel, pop them off. And that's what's left of the head of the screw. I don't know where the other one went. Okay, now we can try to get the actual bumper itself off. You got a couple options on this bumper. If you just want the bumper, then you're gonna have to go through, well, it's missing, but then on that side I got some more. Remove all those bolts, which are gonna be, you know, pretty stubborn. Or you can try to remove the bolt here, and mine has one here on this side, but it doesn't look like it actually goes to anything, so I don't think I have to take that off. So removing two on each side, now these are bigger bolts, will remove this piece, which is what your bumper actually bolts to. So you pick your poison, which one you want. They're probably both going to be majorly stuck. But if you do decide to do these two, if you're just wanting to swing it down, you can just remove this one and loosen this one. If you're wanting to pull it completely out, loosen this one, but pull this one out first so it doesn't drop on you. So I think pulling these off, it's going to be the easiest. And let me give you a piece of advice here on removing these. Don't just put your impact wrench on it and start cranking. It may work, but it's much more likely to break a bolt. So I've already moved this a fair bit, and this is how I did it right here. And now it is stopped. So it broke loose a little bit and it stopped. Well, now I'm going to turn this the other way, bring it back in, tighten it back up a little, and get the grit and rust out of the threads. Then turn it the other way, and you just go back and forth, loosen it up a little more each time. But that way the grit and stuff won't get stuck in the threads and won't lock it up, which will make it much more likely to break the bolt. See, I don't know if it's gonna show. You're gonna be able to really see a whole lot, but so now I moved it a fair bit, tightening it again. Now you see how it's turning a little easier. It's still really rusty. Okay, now it's tight. Flip it back. Hopefully I'm not blocking. Okay. Watch your finger. And each time I do this, there, see, now it's looser again. And each time I do this, it gets a little bit easier to turn it. So I'll probably be able to reuse these once I clean the threads. I've got videos on all this, other videos on it, doing the same thing specifically. Now, yes, it does take longer than if I use the impact. All right, now we're getting close to the... Okay, so I'm gonna go back again. Yeah, sorry, it does in fact take... It does take more time than if you just force it off, but you don't, I'm not risking breaking the nut near as much. Anyway, the other 3 bolts were fairly loose, as in they broke loose pretty easy. Now, as I said before, be careful that the other side is still connected, but the bolts are almost out. Almost. You don't want this bumper to go falling on you. Oh, back there. And this light, when this thing falls, this light may or may not get caught. So be aware of that. I'm going to go ahead and pull this back one out. Everything out of the way. I don't think that's in. There we go. Oh, that'll work. Well, it did until it didn't. All right, you got a bag and a label for this stuff. And if you're not shooting video on yours, take a picture. Or I guess you could reference this one. Oh man, I knew that was gonna happen. The bolt fell into the frame. Oh, that's nasty. All the stuff falling down. Oh, that's still tight. Okay. I'm gonna actually leave that bolt and the nut just barely on until I get the other side to the exact same amount. They are loose, but they're not totally loose like this one is. Well, the bolt on the other side did the exact same thing on the frame. Fell down into the frame with the washer. All right, the other side of the bumper is just hanging down on the bucket. So this bolt doesn't want to come out because it's probably a little cockeyed. Okay. There. Bumper's off. Step 1, done. All right, you got the right side off, passenger side. Whoo, that was fun. So just a tip, when I'm still working on stuff, so I got this side off, I'm putting the bolts, so I'm putting the bolts back where they were, the ones that are still useful. And then once I'm done, then I'll do the cleanup and I'll label where everything was. All right, so first thing you're gonna have to do on any A-body is you're gonna have to take at least the right headlight, get it in frame, chrome off. On the Chevelle, it's a couple Phillips heads, and use a good screwdriver. Don't use a cheap one, and I already know I'm this based on the other side. I'm gonna have to take this whole piece off. This whole piece will have to come off. So let me finish those 4. There's 2 Phillips screws on the bottom, one on each side. You're gonna wanna pull those out. Don't strip them. Use a good Phillips head screwdriver. And hopefully you have hit them with WD-40 on the back if you can get to it. I didn't have problems with either of the ones on the front here or on the other side. The screws out. Now you have some bolt. Now, there's a bolt hole right there. Missing the bolt. It's supposed to be there. There's one up here in the top corner. That one was a booger. On the other side, one up there, missing again. And then there's this one here, which is those 2. You want to get this one out. You can take that one out too, but this is the one that will actually free it up. And those are, by the way, 3/8. And hopefully, the reason why they're back up, no, I don't think you can see. Back up behind this piece is, so it's really hard to get BB blaster, whatever, back there. Well, same thing happened on this one. Everything is out. This thing is completely loose except that corner. It broke. The clip broke, so it's just spinning. There is a pin right here, and that is why on a Chevelle, at least, you have to take this off, because you can't move this fender back that direction because of the door. You have to pull it forward. So this has to come off on a Chevelle. It may or may not on the Pontiac, Buick, or Oldsmobile. But I had the same problem, so we're gonna leave it there for now, and I'm gonna start loosening these other bolts. All right, these are 1/2 inch. Woo! Okay, the other side, these were easy on the other side, and you can get them with PB Blaster. Okay, there it goes. They were just tight. Whoa, I don't like to hear that. But it didn't break, so we're good. Next, okay, I forgot the 2 fender bolts right here. Hopefully that's pretty obvious. Right here, right here, and right there. While I'm up here, I'm gonna go ahead and loosen these 9/16 ones. Probably don't need the extension, but and while you're doing this, check to see if they're shimmed. So sometimes you'll have shims between the fender and the cowl here. So pay attention to that. Mine does not. And I won't bore you with this. There's still another one behind the door we'll get to in a little bit. For your front, right here, hopefully you have hit that with some penetrant. It's a 1/2 inch. And go ahead, by the way, pull that out. There is, while we're here, right here is a connection. You can disconnect the turn signal. Up underneath, don't forget that one there, and then that one in the corner. The one in the corner will have to come out. Be sure to hit it with PB Blaster on the top side. Now, inside here, there's a bunch of 1/2 inch bolts holding or not necessarily holding your inner fender well. Don't forget these two up here. All those got to come out, 1/2 inch. Unfortunately, it's inevitable. Clips are gonna break, so it's just free spinning. You're gonna have to deal with it. In mine, this is a plastic bumper and it's torn up anyway with so I just have torn up plastic ones, so I am going to just cut around right here so I can then pull the fender off. But yeah, all these clips, I mean, it's an old car, these been on for decades, they're rusted, they don't want to come off, so beware. Okay, and the door. Stuff is falling out, just tap it on it. Okay, 9/16 here in the door. Not too bad actually. The other one is pretty easy too. Now you may have noticed, I don't know if the camera caught it, the fender, it moved. Now, when I did the other side, when I loosened this up on the other side, in fact, even before I did this, so I have, I'm gonna leave that in, but a little loose. I have the car up on jack stands on the frame, no wheels on it. When I noticed the engine's in it, and that put weight on the front of the frame, bending it down, because when I loosened the front of the fender, it pulled up. So I have a jack under it, under the suspension, that is holding this front up better, so I don't think the fender, which should be loose, moved on us too much. All right, so I've still got loose, door loose. Now we go to the fun ones. Yeah, the back bottom ones. All right, you can see in there, nothing good. Yeah, that thing was so full of dirt and rocks. Even with, I had inner fender covering most of this, and it's still full. And you can see that bolt sticking through closest to me. Yeah, and the clip, well, the clip is broke, so the bolt just spins, and I might actually be able to knock that down and out. The one, in fact, the one over, the second one appears to be actually coming out, which is shocking. The other two, they just snapped inside, and I ended up having to use the grinder to cut them off, cut off wheel. So, and I tried to see if I could, if there was any way to get some BB PB blaster down in there. I sprayed some in, but I don't know if it actually got to it. But then again, it is loose, so you can try it. So I have learned one of the things for, yeah, that actually came out. I am blown away. One of the things that the bolt, now the washer, that's interesting. Look at that, it's cracked. Gonna have to get new ones. One of the things that I have, restoring a car is expensive, but you know, you might hope that you can reuse a lot of the nuts and bolts and stuff. You know, you're gonna, no. No. Just no. They're gonna all break, most of them. Now, I already got that dirt out. By the way, this bolt, I was able to just push it through. Oh, three shims fell out so far. Now you may or may not need the shims when you put it back on. And those were all in the back one. That's kind of weird, but I will document it. So now this is out. Now we're going to take out those bolts on top. So everything is free except for these wires right here. So on the other side you had the antenna. I just cut the cable, and this one you had the wire, this clip right there, and that's it. Now this is still on. Pick it up. Trying to slide it forward so it clears the door. There you go. Had to pull the back out a little bit. Okay. Now, I wish I had a bigger shop or garage. Now this one. Okay. You can see, oh look at, oh, I'm putting enough pressure on it that it's holding. Yeah, you can try that. Pull out a little bit, and it might hold it. That did it. But it just uses those Fender clamps, and they break so easy. It's off. And there was one shim where the fender connected to the door. 3 on the bottom back one on this side. On the other side there was 2 on the both bottom ones. All right, fenders are off and front bumper. So now I can start doing the fender work, which of course is more than I expected. It always is. It always is. All right, hope that was helpful. If so, please like, subscribe, comment, and good luck with yours.